Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's office hours with the Intuit Developer team. Today, we are going to do a presentation about our premium APIs. These are the new APIs that we release as part of the partner program. We have a few slides to share to talk about the different APIs. The presentation will be led by my colleagues Soumya and Setu, who are both solutions architects at Intuit Developer Group. Following the webinar, we'll open it up for questions from the audience. And with that, let me start sharing. All right, so what are the premium APIs? The premium APIs are our most requested APIs from developers like yourselves. They include our projects API, custom fields, sales tax, and payroll compensation for time tracking. So if your app is interested in any of these use cases, you're at the right place. And this is the webinar where we'll talk about these 4 APIs. These APIs are all GraphQL based, but they can be used along with our current REST accounting APIs. In fact, as we will see in the presentation, most of them are to be used together with our accounting APIs. All of these APIs do need some onboarding and permissions for access. Who can access these premium APIs today? So the projects and the sales tax APIs are currently available to partners in the silver, gold, and platinum tiers of our app partner program. The custom fields and payroll compensation APIs are currently available to gold and platinum tier partners. We'll now do an introduction to each of these APIs, and I will hand it over to Soumya.
So hi everyone, sorry about that. So let's start with the APIs and we'll deep dive into what are the types of APIs and how you specifically should be using them. So first the projects API. What this API would help you do is create, read, update and delete operations all by the GraphQL APIs. And then the projects that you create or you update, you can attach them to the transactions that you do right now by the REST APIs. And what transactions do we support these projects on is estimate, invoice, sales receipt, refund, credit memo, vendor credit, journal entry. So almost the most frequently used accounting transactions, you can attach the projects that you create via the GraphQL API onto these transactions. And then along with the purchase transactions that we support are bill, expense, and purchase order. So so there's an important nuance here, like you will have new scope that you will need to use along with the existing accounting scope. So for the V3 accounting REST APIs, you must be using accounting. Now, the important thing to note is along with this accounting, you have to make sure that you pass the project scope in case you're trying to create, update, read, or delete projects. Again, the whole integration works in combination. You'll have to create the projects by the GraphQL API, and then you can use the REST API for posting the regular transactions. The authentication part remains the same. It's still OAuth, and still you'll get tokens the same way. And you can use the same tokens basically that you generate by passing both these scopes. And that remains the same. There's no change. And as you're aware, on developer.intuit.com, you can create sandboxes. So if you use and integrate with the projects API and try to hit our sandbox API endpoint, it would still create projects. So it is supported on sandbox. So these are the important settings. And again, just a short overview again of what we said, that you can create read projects by the new GraphQL APIs, and then you attach it to the V3 transaction API using the field known as project ref. And this is overview of all the transactions that are used. And if you want to check like whether for a particular SKU or a subscription type is projects enabled or not, you must be aware of the preferences API endpoint. So please make sure you call that to check if projects is enabled or not. So this is the important points that we need to know. Of course, we have extensive documentation on this as well. Now, moving on, uh, let me show you where exactly the documentation, how you can find it, and you might be aware of it, but for everybody to know, if you click on use cases and all our new APIs that we are supporting, the use cases will be available under this particular section of QuickBooks Online. So if you go to manage projects, we have all the information that you would need to start building and using projects API. So you can get started, the scope details, and then how to create the projects. And we'll specifically also have the Postman collections that you can use to read and run the queries. So now we'll walk you through a demo video of how to you could use the Postman collection to test this out, and it will be a quick walkthrough. So let me just play the audio for you. Yeah. So once again, yeah, let me maximize this. And as you can see, once you import a Postman collection, you set the environmental variables. This is almost same what you would do in with regards to the REST API. And specifically, let's go to the section of generating the OAuth tokens. And this is this part which is important. The scopes that you pass, it should include both accounting as well as project scope. And once that is done, you can mint the tokens, and then it triggers the OAuth flow. Once you connect, you must be aware of the OAuth flow. You select the company. You can use the tokens. And then you make the GraphQL call. So you can query, create. We'll try to show you like the create part, how you can create a project. So you specify all the details in the GraphQL query. And then it creates the project ID. So here the important thing to note is the ID. This is the ID that you would need to send back in the project ref field when you're posting the transaction. Uh, yeah, and we'll quickly go through this. As you can see, we're just showing you how the project is created on the QBO side. Yeah. And the project ID, as you can see. Now let's see if we can post a transaction. To post the transaction, you use the regular REST v3 accounting APIs that you were using, and we pass the project ref value, which is the project ID, with the base URL, the company ID. This you must be aware of. So just quickly walking through this. And if you go to the transaction tab, you can see that the invoice got posted against the project. So this is the overall view of how the project's API would work. And for rest of the APIs that we'll be talking about, the process is almost similar. So for custom fields, again, previously there was a legacy version of custom fields where you couldn't create custom fields by the regular REST APIs. Now, actually, with the new GraphQL APIs, you can create, read, update, and disable. You can do all the operations by the GraphQL API, and you can attach it to the transactions. The list of transactions that are supported are mentioned here. Again, all the major transactions like estimate, invoices, and also entities like customer and vendor are supported. Similarly, just like projects, there are new scopes here. This is important to know with custom fields, we have two scopes. One is allows you to just read the custom fields, but then the other scope, App Foundation custom field definitions, allows you to both read and write. So we recommend that whenever you're enabling these scopes on the Intuit developer portal, that make sure you enable both these scopes. And then when you're making a call, make sure to pass all these scopes in case you want the ability to both read and create custom fields via the GraphQL API. And another thing, specific thing we wanted to call out here, if you see, it's the same pattern. We make the GraphQL API call for the custom fields. For the REST API, when you make the call, please make sure to include the parameter, specifically include equal to enhanced all custom fields. So if you're trying to create custom fields and you try to attach to a transaction without including these parameter, then you will not see that within QuickBooks. It doesn't really get attached. Authentication stays the same. As Shweta mentioned, that right now we do not have sandbox support, and also it's limited to like gold and platinum partners. So once we decided to scale it up a bit, then the sandbox availability will be discussed then. Again, the same, the documentation and the use case, they all are in the same place. And I just would like you to walk you through the demo part of it. Yeah. It's the similar process. We generate the credentials, the scopes, exactly the way we did for Projects API. And then again, you can make the OAuth calls. We're just going quickly through this because it's the same process as projects. And then this is the new operation that is creating custom fields, which was not available previously. That is available now by the GraphQL APIs. And as you can see, the custom field was created by the API. Yeah. So these are the options available on the UI. You can attach it to the entities that you would like to. And then once the custom fields is created, you can see it here. So demo custom fields is the one that was created. Again, once you create this, you can then attach it to the V3 transactions. Payroll compensation. So this one, we wanted to like clarify a bit that this particular payroll compensation, you'll only be able to read the pay types. It does not handle paychecks or deductions or other type of payroll data. It is only to get the employee compensation pay type. And once you get the pay type, then you can attach it to the time entries. So for example, you have, once you read the employee compensation, then you can just use that V3 time activity, that is the REST API part, and then attach those pay types to the time entries. So that is the capability that is supported through this. Again, a new set of scopes here, payroll.compensation.read, which you need to use along with accounting scope. Now, to use payroll.compensation.read, the important point to notice that this is available only with QuickBooks Payroll. So if the customer's QBO company has QuickBooks Payroll enabled, then you can use the scope and the accounting scope and you'll be able to read pay types. If you try reading the pay types without a QuickBooks Payroll subscription, it would return an error. And then the endpoints are again the same, GraphQL API and then the existing accounting REST APIs. There's no sandbox support right now, but once it's available, we'll let everybody know. The use case is, again, the use case documents lie in the same place. And we'll just quickly show you the GraphQL part. And the rest of the transaction part, of course, remains the same. We are again doing the OAuth authentication. And this is the important one. So we have this query employee compensation. As you can see, it's only for querying the pay types. For QBO company, which already have QuickBooks Payroll enabled, there are no other operations supported. And what you will get back is only the employee pay type. So if you hear payroll compensation, we just want to be clear that this is for reading the employee compensation pay types only. And then once you query this based on the employee ID, so here we are showing you the employee pay type details. And again, this you will be able to see only if the customer has QuickBooks Payroll. And as you can see, let me zoom in that you got back the pay types, different type of pay types for that particular employee. And now the final part is the time activity that you're creating. You need to insert the payroll item ref with the values that you received back on the original call that you made to get the pay types. So this is a quick overview. Please feel free to explore the Postman collection for this. So now moving on to sales tax API, we have this new sales tax API available only for US based QuickBook companies which have automatic sales tax feature engine enabled. So this particular API helps you calculate the sales tax, whereas previously there was no such built-in API functionality for this purpose. Now, the important settings to note here is the scope. It's indirect tax.taxcalculation.quickbooks and allows to access to calculate the sales tax amount. And you need to use this along with the accounting scope, which are meant for V3 accounting REST API. Now, the endpoints, again, as mentioned for the previous API, it's the GraphQL API endpoint along with the V3 accounting REST API endpoint. The headers that the authorization headers that you will need, those remain the same. And we do support sandbox. So if you're aware of developer.intuit.com, you can navigate to sandboxes. And if you switch on automatic sales tax calculation on the sandbox environment, and then you try to read it by the sandbox API endpoint, you would get the tax rate back. Now, coming on to the limitations, the calculations that you make by the API are not persisted or stored. There are no updates or writes to the existing data. The discount tax calculations are not currently supported. And if there is no ship to ship from, like it cannot be verified, then whatever was the default company address that was saved in QuickBooks, that would be read. Now, again, the use case documentation similar to projects, it lies under the use case section on developer.intuit.com. And now let's go through a quick demo. So as you can see, these are the environment variables that are being set, and we mentioned the specific scope related to indirect tax. And when you make the API call, there are several parameters to pass. Specifically, please look at ship from address and ship to address. These are the important parameters that are used for making the sales tax calculation. So this process shows the setting up of the sales tax on the QuickBooks account. So automated sales tax is enabled. Now let's create a transaction. And we enable tax on it and enter the products. And once you enable tax, it will do the automatic sales tax calculation. Again, we are generating the OAuth token. As you notice, we pass the particular scope in the OAuth. This goes again through the consent screen where you select the QuickBooks company. So this is the particular customer ID that we are setting for the API call. And once you make the API call, you will get back the tax amount, which is 9.13. So that was a quick overview of sales tax. And as if you would like to look at additional resources, we have the sample codes gallery. You can navigate to developer.intuit.com samples gallery, go to use cases, and then just look at one of the samples. And also we have the GraphQL Explorer. As you already know, if you navigate to developer.intuit.com, you can access the accounting APIs by the REST Explorer. Now, with the new APIs, you can access them by the GraphQL Explorer. It shows you all the queries, mutation objects, and interfaces.